It's common for curly heads to go straight for job interviews and major events. Yeah, I mean, Nana, I don't usually. But because there was the memorial service, we're very close to our neighbor. Our village is very small. Where have you been all this time? Great question. I have been going through a very big transformation, a very huge transformational period, which I'll tell you about eventually, once I know where all of this is headed. Part of it being, I quit smoking, all types of things. Alchemy 101 was awesome. Oh yeah, you took alchemy? Yeah, the smoking has definitely helped my skin, although I do have a zit today. You lost your witch charm with that hair. Are you saying that my charm doesn't come from within? Are you implying that my witch charm is something external? To let you guys know what I've been lacking in videos, I've been making up for in Substack writing. So if you haven't seen my Substack yet, make sure to check that out. I have been writing rather than making videos. We all know what's been happening lately, and it's just felt weird to me to make videos. I want to make videos, and every day I pull my phone out and I say, okay, today I'm gonna make a video. And then I just feel weird, like it feels disrespectful, like there's just so much going on. It doesn't feel right for me to sit there and talk. And I mean, if I'm gonna talk about what's happening, talk about Gaza and all of that, like what more is there to say? I'm not a journalist. I'm not about to relay the news to you. You can find that everywhere, but what more is there to say? This is the nigredo. This is the destruction. This is the dissolution. We just have to live through it. There's no talking our way out of it. There's no intellectualizing our way out of it. So I've had trouble making videos, and instead I have been writing. I've just been enjoying the silence of writing, been finding myself able to take my time and really break things down through writing. So if you want to see what I've been up to, please check out my Substack, read what I've been writing. Other than quitting smoking, what are the new big changes in your life? Well, for anybody who does smoke or has ever quit smoking, you probably know how massive that in itself is as a transformation. Are you a doctor yet? Yeah, but not the kind that could help you if you have any physical ailments. Only the kind that could potentially give you a very well-argued existential crisis. I'm trying to quit vaping right now. It's not going well. It's hard. It is hard. Lots of things make me very angry, things that don't need to make me angry, things that naturally, logically, I know aren't worth the emotional reaction, and yet that I cannot seem to overlook or not react to. Is your Substack in your TikTok bio? Yes. The link on my TikTok bio has a link to my Substack, to my courses, to Sulfur and Spirit, the journal that we put together, everything. I quit smoking cold turkey. I was smoking 100 cigarettes. I mean, I wasn't smoking 100 a day, but I was smoking a pack a day. Start a subcategory, Twitchy Conspiracy thread. Are you sleeping on Gnostic information? Well, technically, I can't be sleeping on any Gnostic information that would be beneficial to you, because Gnostic Gnosticism is a very personal thing. It's an inner knowing, an inner acknowledgement, an inner recognition of your own personal God. Guys, let's take a moment to hear from our favorite beloved sponsors. Remember, this is a product that you can find almost anywhere in the world, unless you're in Gaza and you're being exposed to the barbarism, animosity, and utterly abhorrent practices of the Israeli regime, and that is water. Love how surprised everyone is by the hair. Khalas, next time I'm not coming on here until my hair is curly again. Don't worry. Is 2025 going the way you expected? Well, since all I really expected of it was for the months to continue to follow one another in consecutive order as they have been for the last 30 years of my life, then yeah, definitely. I mean, March came after February, February came after January, April should be on its way. Are you still selling the cards? Of course, and I deeply, deeply appreciate it if you get a deck, you support me, and you also engage with a new way of doing tarot and building a relationship with a tarot deck. It's a very intentionally made deck. I would love your thoughts. Saliha, you sent me an email, didn't you? You're Saliha444. I actually have been thinking about this question since you emailed me. And I'm not, like, my thoughts aren't fully developed. I mean, I had some thoughts. I actually started writing some things. Your memory is so sharp. Honestly, it's just more. It's better now. It's better now since I stopped smoking. I love how weirded out you guys are by my hair. To be honest, though, I am a bigger fan of my curly hair. Muhammad Yahya, I'm 6'6", by the way. Then you should be able to run to me in a matter of minutes from wherever you are. I'm about to quit smoking too. Oof, good luck. Will humanity ever get to see the unseen world? I mean, maybe if there's like a day of judgment or something, but I feel like that's a personal experience. Because even if we were to all see the unseen world, I don't think any two people would see the same thing. Because everyone's unseen world is a reflection of their own unseen self, if you know what I mean. You quit cigarettes, Habibi, hi. What's up, Ethan? And yes, I did. I quit all forms of, except for, you know, the natural breath. Curly hair gone, cannot stay in this. Oh my gosh. When are you gonna post the stories? What stories? I really like the article from Heaven to High Vibes. Oh, Mini Mia, you're reading my Substack. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Guys, if you haven't already seen my Substack and subscribed and checked out the stuff I've been writing, please do. Please check out the Substack. Please see my writings. I've been writing instead of making videos. It's just felt better for now. I will make videos, okay? I promise. Eventually, I'm gonna start making videos. This is my first step to coming back to video making. Because every day I grab my phone, I'm like, today I'm gonna make a video. But what else is there to say? Maybe I'll just make a video about alchemy, but I don't want to talk about alchemy right now while people are dying. There's a whole thing. It's a whole thing. Okay, so yeah, check out my Substack. Please help support my writing. And, you know, you'll read cool articles like From Heaven to High Vibes. Muhammad says, I started running, by the way. Wow, you're late. You should have been here by now. If you were really 6'6", you would have been here by now. كيف وقفت الدخان while بلبنان؟ أنا ما قادرة أفكر to quit in these circumstances. No, I totally understand, Amy. And it is hard being around so many people who smoke, because in Lebanon, everyone smokes. But one thing I've been doing is, like, the other day, did you guys hear that? Anyways, the other day, my friends came over. My little brother invited like all of our friends over and stuff, and they all came, hung out in the basement. Everybody was drinking and smoking and rolling, getting, you know. Yeah, so they were having Mexican night, burritos, fajitas, whatever. I just had to make my burritos, plural, and, you know, let myself indulge in a cup of Diet Pepsi, and I just wrapped up my burritos and I came upstairs and I just stayed away from the crowd. That was the only solution for me. Because it's too tempting. How do you balance planning for the future with detachment from expectations? Oh, great question. How do I access your Substack? Oh, you hear the dinosaur sounds, yeah? مع لون الجاكيت ولو شو كلمة واحد لبس زيتي صار إسرائيلي بكي شي سريم. Someone asked a really interesting question about detachment. Luke asked a very interesting question about detachment and planning for the future. Luke, are you still there? And can you repeat the question? I mean, I remember the question, but so that we have it here in front of us. We love the curls. Yes, I also love the curls. They will be back. I will never come on here with straight hair again. What do you think about dark and black magic? Not much. Not much, to be honest. I don't think about them often. I rarely ever think about them. I don't think I've thought about them in a long, long time had you not asked me about them. Luke, okay, I am here. I was wondering how you balance planning for the future with detachment from expectations. Amazing question. So, most recently in our alchemy program, we read the Bhagavad Gita. And there's this great lesson in the Bhagavad Gita about detachment from outcome. So, say you are planning for the future. You are planning what you want to do with your year, right? You want to plan to take care of your body, okay? Now, when you plan to take care of your body, you don't want to be attached to what your body is supposed to look like, or what the outcome of taking care of your body is supposed to be. You want to focus on the commitment to taking care, to doing the caretaking. So you want to focus on eating right, on developing a consistent practice of movement, going to the gym, running, playing tennis, doing parkour, whatever it is you want. Whereas when you're attached to the outcome, you're saying, Anna, I want my ideal body, and that means being 5 kilos lighter than this. I want to be a certain number on the scale. No amount of sports, no amount of healthy eating, no amount of anything, though, is bringing you to that number. And so even if you're doing all of the right things and you're treating your body well, because you're not seeing that number that you're so attached to, you start to experience a certain amount of misery and resentment towards your body, towards yourself, towards the practice, and it might very likely make you stop being healthy and stop going to the gym, because why should I? I'm not getting the number on the scale that I wanted. When you're planning for the future, focus on the things that you want yourself to be doing rather than the outcome that you want from everything. And that way, no matter what comes, no matter what the outcome is, so long as you are committed to what you've promised yourself to be committed to, you're not going to experience this dissonance with yourself. So, detachment from outcome, right? Loving someone for who they are rather than who you want them to be. What of yourself you see in them, and what you want of yourself to see in them, rather than their potential, who they are. Loving them in this moment for who they are, and remaining detached from the outcome. So I think the best way to plan for the future without becoming attached to expectation is to meditate on this idea of detachment from outcomes. And I also definitely suggest reading the Bhagavad Gita, because it'll give you an even better idea, a deeper idea of what I'm talking about. I'm really giving a very surface level explanation to cater to your question. So yeah, and I think that's a great observation, Luke. It is counterintuitive to the very popular goal-oriented modern philosophy, because modern philosophy is very capitalistic, and capitalism is about production, specifically monetary production and monetary value. So we are taught to be attached to outcomes, to what is created, what is produced. How much money does what is produced produce? And thereby, how valuable is it based on how much money it was worth? So everything in our modern capitalistic lives is oriented towards outcome rather than journey, rather than process. And obviously capitalism is designed to keep you miserable, because the more miserable you are, the more likely you are to buy things to make you not miserable. And of course, no matter what you buy to unmiserable yourself will only be a temporary form of enjoyment before you're miserable again and you need to buy stuff again to be happy again. Yet when we learn to detach from the outcomes, detach from this chase, we find contentment. How do you identify which path is the one you should be following when you have a plethora of hobbies? That's an interesting question, Saleha. Hobbies are one thing, skills are another, natural talents are still another, and I don't necessarily believe that we need to choose anything at the expense of anything else. Nothing is lost on us when we are able to expand ourselves to our own journey and just let ourselves be who we are and let ourselves experiment in ways that maybe we've been told don't work. Like, for example, when I started college, I was told that I had to do something I had to either be a doctor, an engineer, or a lawyer, or else there was no point in getting a degree. And even though I wanted to be a writer, I always wanted to be a writer. I wanted to be a storyteller. I wanted to doctor and write. You can be an engineer and still, make plays or whatever you want to do on the side. Like, you can have your hobbies while you have a real career. And it took me a few years of going back and forth between these different legitimate majors before I had the courage to say, you know what, this is my experience and I'm just going to go with it. I'm just going to go with what I feel. And I did literature with a minor in philosophy, and everyone told me that I would be poor forever and I would never leave my father's house. And my grandparents, my aunts were upset because they couldn't really show off and say our daughter is becoming a doctor, blah, blah, blah. But I had other cousins who did the doctor thing, so thank God. And now here I am. Everything I ended up doing was never lost on me. Like, I ended up doing a master's. I moved away from philosophy towards more psychology and literature. That took me to alchemy, symbolism, and poetry. And then I moved away from that altogether for my doctorate to study Palestine, post-colonialism, and anti-colonialism, and identity, because I, was fascinated and disgusted by identity politics. So I thought, all right, I'm going to have to study this in depth. Like, I need to understand this. And then while I was studying Palestine, I found my way back to alchemy and back to symbolism and spirituality through TikTok. And then while I was growing on TikTok and Instagram in the realm of alchemy and religion and spirituality and symbolism, Palestine became a real global topic that people knew about all of a sudden, and I was able to use all of the different forms of knowledge that I have acquired over my lifetime all together. I'm able to use them because at some point I decided to move away from fear and just surrender to myself. I didn't want to be an engineer who wrote. I didn't want to be a doctor who wrote. I just wanted to be a writer. I didn't know that I would be here. I never thought that I would be creating videos or content or writing on Substack, doing lives. I didn't plan any of that. I just knew that I wanted to write. So to go back to Luke's question, I knew I wanted a future where I was writing, where I was sharing my ideas, my thoughts with words. I was not attached to how that looked like. I wasn't attached to like needing to get a book deal or needing a publisher, even though I had moments of that, of course. Everyone does on a creative journey. But I wasn't so attached as to not allow for anything else to happen or not allow myself or my journey to transform, because it did transform so many times in so many ways. I did not think for a second when I started my TikTok that I would ever talk about Palestine online. I didn't even think that I would talk about alchemy when I started. I was just talking about dreams and dream symbolism, because that was a conversation that was happening, that I saw happening, and that I thought I could enter, that I had enough knowledge to bring light to. And when I started talking about alchemy, I never thought I would talk about religion and the Quran. And I did end up talking, like, heck, it just happened, you know, and I just kind of let things happen. I moved from an initial authentic urge to share my thoughts, and I just let that guide me without being rigid or being attached to any way that it should look. I didn't let anybody along the way tell me what I can and can't talk about, even though, like, whenever my content would change a little or shift away from one thing to another, people would get upset or say, oh, I miss when you talked about dreams, or I miss when you talked about religion, or I miss when you talked about symbolism. So you just have to trust yourself, I guess. Honestly, the weight that our job titles have on our self-perception is a little wild. Yeah, it is. And that's why whenever anyone asks me what I do, I usually just say I talk. And they're like, what do you mean you talk? I talk for a living, literally. Because I don't, you know, anyone who's done any of my courses or worked with me or spoken with me personally, like on Discord or anything, knows what my mind is like and how I feel about identifications and labels. And I refuse to be labeled, honestly. I refuse. If you haven't already, guys, make sure to join our Discord. It's a beautiful online community. It's called the Twitchiverse. You can also find that at my link, the link in my bio. You can find everything at the link in my bio. My Substack, the Sulfur and Spirit Journal, the courses, Discord. If you want to get on the wait list for next year's alchemy program, you should do that now. It's coming up. The link is on my website, and the application will be open soon. So make sure that I have your email, because that's how that's going to be, that the information for that is going to be disseminated. When you meet someone, it goes name, age, and then job title, usually in that order. Yeah, and people love to ask, what do you do? So here's a little trick for you guys. I never ask anyone, what do you do? I never ask that question. I always ask, how do you spend your time? And when you say, how do you spend your time, people will usually say, oh, you know, I work for this company, blah, blah, blah. And that's how you know that they identify with their work. They identify with their job. But you can always spot the people who are living a little bit outside of the box, like just in their own heads, in their own time. Like, it doesn't mean they don't have a job or they're not sustaining themselves in any way, but their job isn't necessarily, they don't have an ego identification with their job, essentially. Try it. When you meet new people, don't ask, what do you do? Ask, how do you spend your time? What do you think about fasting from water in Ramadan? I mean, they don't only fast from water, they fast from everything. You can't put anything in your mouth. You can't even have a cigarette if you're a smoker. Ramadan fasting is hard. It's not like fasting light the way the Christians do it. What do you enjoy doing? That's a good one too. Breaking my fast with water and an ajwa date. Yum. Are you non-religious? I'm very religious about being non-religious, yes. We see those curls within a month or we riot. What do you know about Christian fasting? That it's much, much easier than the Ramadan. No. Christian fast, no, you don't eat from midnight to midday. Here, at least in the Middle East, you don't eat from midnight to midday, and there's like a ta, no. So they fast from certain things. No meat, no chicken. The Orthodox, even no fish, no cheese, no milk, no animal byproducts. Like, the Orthodox basically just go vegan for 50 days and they don't eat until midday. It's very, like, it's intermittent fasting. plus veganism in the Christian practice, at least in the Orthodox practice. So Ramadan is much more intense. Are all your family safe from Israel's attacks in Lebanon? No, we're never safe. We're never safe. Nobody is safe. What do you mean? Nobody is safe. Not even the bootlickers. Not even the extremist Christian Zionist bootlickers. Even they're not safe, unfortunately. I like all these reactions to the hair. I like how some people like it. Some people are ready to riot if it stays this way. Do you do any fasting yourself? Intermittent fasting, usually. When I'm here, for the first few weeks that I'm here, I'm usually eating 24/7 because there's just so much good food that I miss. But generally, I do intermittent fasting. Do you feel like fasting makes you more zen? If you can make it through the first 3 days, if we're talking about full-on fasting, where you just don't eat, where you're just on like water and maybe some juices, like full-on no solids, yeah, if you can push through those first 3 days, after that you just start seeing visions, honestly. After that, nothing touches you. Wondering if you want to go out for tea. Are you in Lebanon, Leroy? Can you please share basic self-protection? What do you mean? My eyebrows are a mess right now, Jess. This chat is moving really fast. Since studying religion, are you religious? The more religions I expose myself to, the more religious about being non-religious I become. Fasted for a week, then got sick for a week. Yeah, no, it's intense. It is intense. 110 pounds. Wow. To me, you can only you can hurt yourself. And if you don't believe in energy protection, if you don't believe in energy vampires or curses that people can put on you, like Anna, I believe that any curse you cast, you're putting on yourself. That's what I believe. No one can curse me, That's my energy protection. So that's a very deep knowing that I have. It's not like I don't have to trick myself into knowing that. Why do you say Ramadan fasting is intense? Have you ever fasted for Ramadan? And anyone who's fasted for Ramadan, I think, knows it's intense. It's inescapably intense, yani. Do you know what Bektashi sect Muslim in Albania? No, I'm not familiar with this. Do you think people have gifts like telepathy or healing or mind control? Yeah. Probably. I think so. I know some people who you could call mediums or channels, healers, energy healers. But again, it always depends on the other person, yani. Someone who is vulnerable to energetic attacks will be energetically attacked because they are vulnerable. Because the mechanisms, their belief systems and their mechanisms are built on fear and hesitation. So like, if I were someone who was always afraid of being hit by the evil eye or having a spell cast onto me, then yeah, I'm likely gonna have a spell cast onto me. I probably will get hit by some evil eye. That intention, I'm susceptible to that intention because I've made myself susceptible. But it's the strength of your own mind, the strength of your own alignment with yourself and your center that dictates how much you can be affected by others. And I've rarely had people with gifts, whether healing gifts or telepathic gifts or mind control gifts or hypnotic gifts. Rarely have I ever actually felt anything or have been penetrated in this way. Because of the mechanisms that I already have in place. How can we stop Zios from recording their version of history? We can't really stop them. We can record our own. We can be louder than them. We have to be louder than them. We can't be cowering away and backing down and just leaving them to take up all the space. We have to be writing our stories. We have to be telling our stories. We have to be taking up our own spaces, organizing with each other, creating community. How do you build these mechanisms? That's a great question, Bobo Luco. It's going to depend for each person on where they are where their vulnerabilities are, what their weaknesses are, what needs strengthening. So let's say for you, you are very impressionable, okay? Anything you hear that sounds nice, it's very easy for you to believe it. You will not fact check very often. You will take the information that you receive for granted, right? Let's say that's you. So what you would need to work on is this susceptibility, this impressionability that you have, so that when you hear something that sounds good, you would have to train yourself that when you hear something that sounds good, you don't immediately take it for granted. You Google it, you search, you do your own research, you make sure that you know how true or untrue this information is before you allow yourself to accept it as knowledge or fact or truth. So that would be what you need to work on. Someone else might be easily convinced of things that make rhetorical sense but are extremely fallible once you scratch the surface. This is someone who does not have a lot of trained critical thinking skills. They will be susceptible to rhetorical fallacies, propaganda, media bias, without stopping to actually analyze what they're hearing or seeing or reading. These are the people who will see the headline 100 dead in Gaza and not wonder why. Why would there be 100 dead in Gaza? What is causing these people to drop dead? Is it possible that they're just dying like heck, just out of nowhere, just 100 dead in Gaza? Or were they murdered? Or were they killed? Or were they sniped? By who? And this is called critical thinking. And this is a mechanism that you need to build. If that's you, then what you would have to do is learn to always question what you're seeing, to reread and say, okay, what do these words mean? And are they carrying an inherent bias? Why would someone say 100 dead in Gaza? Because they want to minimize a crime, because they want to whitewash and take accountability away from the people perpetrating the crime. They want to protect the perpetrators of this crime. And so me as a critical thinker, it's my job to stop and say, okay, 100 dead in Gaza, that doesn't actually make sense. 100 dead anywhere with no context, reason, nothing, that doesn't make sense at all. Humanitarian crisis in Gaza. Why? Like, is Gaza just this shithole that just takes people and grounds them into nothing and creates the land itself, just creates humanitarian crises? Akid la. Of course not. We need to stop and ask why. So these are like two different examples of ways that you would build up the mechanisms to essentially strengthen your mind. You need to strengthen your mind. It's your mind power, your willpower. This is a big aspect of your being. And if you don't have mechanisms in place to protect you from false information, media bias, propaganda, people who might just say things that scare you and then, just to curse you, then you're going to be cursed. You're going to be cursed. You're going to be propagandized. You're going to be led through fear like a little sheep, even though you have all of the power in the world to not, essentially to know better. You have all the power in the world to know better. So of course, everything that is the modern world is working to make you into this susceptible, vulnerable, fear-filled being. Some might argue that strengthening the heart is more important than the mind. It probably is. And I would say it's of equal importance. But, I don't know that there's such a thing as strengthening the heart. If you know, people who are rotten are rotten. And this is something I've learned recently. You can't humanize someone who has dehumanized themselves. And you can't fix a rotten apple. You can't de-rot it. Khalas, if it's rotten, it's rotten. You have to throw it to the earth. Most of us are not rotten. Most of us have good hearts, I think. Most of us have good hearts. And It's from, very often, a place of good-heartedness and good-naturedness that we believe things that are untrue, that we take things for granted, that we become susceptible to fear and paranoia and propaganda. It all comes from good-heartedness, not poor-heartedness. And no, what are you going to do to strengthen the heart? No, you love. You love. And akid, we should move with love. Akid, we should stay intentional with love. But again, the work, the real work is here. It's this that we've been robbed of, most of all. We have good hearts. I don't necessarily think that most of us are inherently bad. I think we are all most of us are inherently good-hearted. And the ones who are not worth the trouble. You can't humanize someone who has dehumanized themselves, and you can't de-rot a rotten fruit. It needs throwing to the earth. That's all. خلاص. ما بقى العازة. أو they say in Arabic الكلب اللي بدك تجريه على الصيد بلا وبلا صيده. يعني the dogs that you have to force to hunt are not worth bringing to the hunt. So I think the work that needs to be done is up here. This is what's been robbed of us. Critical thinking and critical discourse and rhetoric, these were all mandatory topics that we were taught in school for the longest time, until the 20th century. It's in the 20th century that they were removed from schools, and it was in the 20th century around the same time that marketing became as popular as it is now. I mean, this is the same time that American culture, the American population, kind of moves from being this worker society to a consumerist society, and there are these new forms of transmitting information, and radio and the train and telephones, and all of this is happening in the Industrial Revolution, and hegemony is becoming so much easier to spread, and now we just don't question anything. Now whatever we see, we're just like, oh yeah, that makes sense. 100 dead in Gaza. Oh yeah. Do you see that? 100 dead in Gaza. Khayyi, why? From what? Cancer? They just dropped dead? Like, what do you mean 100 dead in Gaza? 100 murdered in Gaza. By who? Heck, lahanun, they killed themselves, they killed each other. What's happening? Let's just take it for granted. 100 dead in Gaza, and let's not be clear on 100 murdered in Gaza by the Zionist entity, by these sick, dehumanized Israeli shitpikes. You once said that Aisha is not 9. Where did you got this? I have 21 Sahih saying otherwise. Of course you do, because Sahih Haida Bukhari, he was some Uzbeki dude who just wanted a reason for it to be okay for him to touch little girls. So he was like, let me write this. Let me make some shit up. Let me make it clear. That's how I know. I know that men are susceptible to projecting themselves and their desires into texts and then calling them divine. What do you mean? What's limiting about tattoos? I have one tattoo on my foot that says be irrational, but it needs touching up. Really, really bad now. And I have one on my shoulder that's my dad's signature. Yeah, OGs know what's up with tanureen water. What happens after death in your opinion? Listen, Anna, I don't speak from my nose or my ass, okay? Anna, I speak from what I know. I have not died and come back. When I die and I come back, I will let you know, okay? Then I tell you what happens. Because I have not died and come back, I cannot have theory on what has happened after dying. I know that the body decays. I know that you slow down. I know that something about having a breath and being alive with this breath makes us fast, and somehow it helps the body fight against the natural entropy of the earth, and it makes us move faster than the earth. And as soon as that breath leaves, everything slows all the way down to the rate of the earth. We only move, the body now just becomes like the soil. It just moves as slow as all the earth's mechanisms, all the earth's organisms. Scary experience, death and coming back. Anna, I don't think anyone has died and come back, to be honest with you. I know, akid, there's near-death experiences. I've had near-death experiences, but that doesn't mean that I've actually been to the other side and I returned. I don't think that we can return from the other side. But this is a personal opinion. This is not a knowing. Who knows? It's a mystery at the end of the day. But I think where I've gone in my near-death experience is not the other side, but some weird in-between place where the brain is a little bit knocked out and the heart is a little bit knocked out, but we're not totally let go of. Then I still have not, my body is still not surrendered entirely to the speed of the earth. There's still breath there. There's still life there. I die and I come back every time I fall asleep. Nearly iftar time in Cape Town. I mean, yeah, in a weird way, I guess we do kind of like have the French say that orgasms are a little death. And there's something about that, that weird in-between space. According to the doctor, in a scientific sense, it's a kind, because you go brain dead, right? But if we were to bury you in that state, you'd technically be buried alive. For there's an in-between, like there's something that hasn't completely been severed, almost. So I don't know. Again, I don't know. And I don't really like to speculate about what happens after death, because who knows, yani. I've written about this too on Substack. I have a little article with like a podcast, like a recording of this idea of the little death and discontinuity, like how we kind of overcome discontinuity through eroticism and through orgasm somehow, that because each person, like somehow I end somewhere and you begin, right? But in death we kind of are dissolved into this speed of the earth. And the only other way to overcome this separateness, according to this philosopher Georges Bataille, is eroticism and orgasm. That it also somehow allows us to transcend our two-ness and make this one for a second. I mean, the ultimate alchemical union is the creation of people. Procreation is the ultimate overcoming. It's the opposite of death. To create life is the opposite of death. And to overcome that discontinuity. Do I find you on Substack under Twitchy Witch? Yes, my name is Twitchy Witch on Substack. The blog is called Phantasmagasma, and the link, if you don't want to search it, is on my bio, like here on TikTok. Like my website, you can find Phantasmagasma on my website. It's like one of the first 3 or 4 buttons, links on my website, so it'll take you straight there. Are you on X? Yeah, also Twitchy Witch. Huh, you found me. You found me in my feline form. Do you have experience with plant medicine modalities? I've done all kinds of medicines, but not peyote and not ayahuasca. Otherwise, I've been around the block, for sure. And to be honest with you, no drug in the world is as sustainably transformative as just your own integrity and your own honesty and the honest work that you can do with yourself. Your ability to say, I'm triggered, and that's my responsibility and not anybody else's. That's the only thing. That's the only sustainable way to transform yourself, in my opinion, in my experience. You willing to try them? Probably. I mean, at some point. But not for any purpose. Because like I said, and I don't believe that there's anything outside of you that's going to save you. If you can't find it within yourself, to be honest, and to take accountability for yourself, nothing's going to save you. Like Salih has said, they can give you magical perspectives and to get your head out of certain environments and certain toxicities. Sometimes it can help push you to have that integrity that you need. But at the end of the day, you are going to have to sustain that integrity. You are going to have to sustain that consistent honesty with yourself. The plant is not going to help you if you need to always go back to it, and then you just become addicted to another drug. Yani. The way you can be addicted to therapy or drinking or anything. Exactly. Integration is your work. So maybe you can use these things to help nudge you in the right direction, but you have to have the willpower and the integrity to keep going. Or maybe you'll just keep going. Every time you need another, you find yourself that you can't have that accountability, or you're finding yourself overwhelmed, you'll just go back in search of the drug, the medicine. The medicine will push me back into it, and then you're not really changing. You're just relying on the medicine. I'm addicted to YouTube tarot readings. You're so silly. That's okay. I love your take on identity politics, and often I see tattoos used as "this is who I am" statements. Oh yeah, that's very common. People will use anything to say this is who I am. Because again, that external things, identifying with external things, using external things as medicines and etc. is very easy and can be very aesthetically pleasing, and also they can get us more attention, and we can share them more with others and feel good about ourselves because we shared them with others and all of that. Whereas the real substantial, sustainable, transformative work is very silent, very unglamorous, very boring, very painful, very arduous. Just arduous. It's really, really hard for people to say, I'm triggered and that's nobody's fault. It's very hard. It's really, really hard to say, I am responsible for how I feel. Not my parents, not the Zionists, not you, not my boyfriend, not my girlfriend, not my partner, not God, not the Bible, not the Quran, not the war, not Palestine, not America, me, only me, always only me. I can be aware of the conflict, let's say in Israel. I can be aware of what's happening in Palestine. I can be aware of the trauma that I've sustained. I can be aware of everything without giving it the power of the responsibility, because we don't realize how much power there is in responsibility, right? We think that when we give the responsibility to the others, to our trauma, to our parents, to the Zionists, to whatever, we think that we've relieved ourselves and we've essentially signaled some form of morality. I'm the good one here. I'm the victim. And they're the perpetrator of the crime. They're the oppressor. They're the problem, not me. So I've been relieved of the responsibility. But we don't realize that what we've actually done is given them the power. They now have the power to either make us upset, to make us hate ourselves, to love ourselves, to feel good about ourselves, to feel helpless, to feel hopeless, to feel power or not. We've given them the power. By giving them the responsibility, we've given them the power. I can recognize that I don't align with Zionism. I can recognize that Zionism is an illness to the world, that it is the most abhorrent of human nature to be witnessed in the world today. I can recognize that 100%. But if I'm going to let it upset me, then I have to know that that's my responsibility. I can let it make me upset, and I can let it debilitate me, and I can let it make me feel hopeless, and oh my God, what are we going to do? They're just so awful. They're just so awful. They're just so terrible. I can do that, but I won't get anything done. I won't create community. I won't empower anyone. I won't be able to do any research. I won't be able to learn about the history of the conflict. I won't be able to teach about the history of the conflict. I won't be able to raise awareness. I won't be able to raise funds. I can't do anything. I've debilitated myself. I've given them the power over how I feel. I've become entangled and attached to everything that they are and allowed who they are to dictate who I am, rather than having enough centeredness within myself, enough strength of mind, enough willpower to be able to see that this is the most abhorrent of human nature in manifest form on this planet right now. I can see it. I can see it so clearly. I'm lucky enough not to be right under the fire, I'm not right under the bombs, and lucky enough to have all of the resources at my disposal to do something about it, to raise awareness, to write, to do research, to teach, to organize, to create community, etc., etc., etc. Do you know what I mean? Does that make sense? So same thing with your trauma, same thing with your partner who's triggering you, same thing with your frenemy. It's all the same on this like spectrum of intensity. Now, the more that I talk about these different things, the more I realize, Sanjad, the only thing that will ever save you really in life the most is detachment. If you really know how to be detached and maintain your compassion with the right amount of detachment, you'll do great things. We'll do great things. But so long as you feel so entitled to your feelings and you want to externalize them all and never say, okay, I'm responsible for how I feel, I should stop and reflect on this, then you're just in the hamster's wheel. You're just running around. You think you're going somewhere, but you're not, babe. You're just in the wheel. You're not actually going anywhere. Are you going to be a university professor? I mean, I've done that. I probably will again down the line. Right now, I'm just writing and I'm publishing research, and we'll see if I ever feel like returning to the institution. There's no sacrifice. It's just awareness, yani, to come in on a halla and for me to get upset and so on. There's Zion, you guys have seen Zionists come in here and we've made fun of them before and everything. But imagine, and no, I started getting upset and then I started blaming them. And then I started saying, you're Zionist and you're not allowed to talk to me that way. I don't talk to Zionists. And you can't come in here in this clearly very public space and talk to me like that, you know, because I just told you to. And I'm having my feelings right now and they're all your fault. No, this is not the alchemical, yani. No, it wouldn't be alchemical of me. It wouldn't be detached of me. And it's not logical of me because it's what I should be doing if I really don't want them to talk to me, let's say in the live, is I block them because I have the power to block them. And why am I engaging in this way when I know it's counterintuitive in a sense, and I'm refusing to take accountability of my feelings. I'm refusing to stop and say, okay guys, this Zionist in the chat is triggering me right now. You know, that's the power for me to be able to stop and say, all right, I'm really being triggered by these Zionist comments right now. I need to take a step back. Like, I need to, because we're going to be triggered, right? Like, it's not like we're not going to be triggered and we're not going to be upset. We are. There's so much happening, especially that is designed to make us upset, designed to make us feel hopeless. So we have to stop. We have to have the integrity to stop and say, okay, this is triggering me a lot right now. And if I have enough space, let me explore why it's triggering me so much, why I can't seem to let it go, why I feel the need to respond to the Zionist with some big petty Virgo energy, which I do sometimes. But no, I can have enough self-awareness, enough detachment to say, and no, this is happening. There's a process happening inside me right now. I need to alchemize as much of the Zio-Nazi BS and hatred as possible. I don't know, I'm reaching a point where I don't think there's any humanizing these people. They don't want to be human at this point, you know? They've dehumanized themselves, and I'm not gonna come and try and humanize someone who dehumanizes themselves on the daily. Boredom for me. What's boredom for you? No point arguing anything. Exactly. There really is no point in arguing with them. They're not trying to learn. And I mean, the ultimate people who externalize the way that they feel are colonizers, especially Zionists. Like, the greatest denial narrative is the Zionist narrative. They'll externalize everything. Their feelings are always our fault. They're our projected anti-Semitism. Always. I mean, can you imagine what level of illness these people live in? Like, they don't need a therapist, as Seinfeld says. They need a team. Each one of them needs a team. And it's not going to be me. I'll say that right now. Now, to take a moment to hear from our beloved sponsor, whom you can find anywhere on this earth, unless you're in Gaza, being exposed to the most abhorrent of human nature witnessed in the modern world. It's boredom. People want to heal, they find solutions. Oh, well, I would argue that I've seen you argue quite a bit. I've seen you argue before. It didn't look like you were bored. It looked like you were ready. You had your argument tools ready to go. How can I learn detachment and to not act on triggers? You have to practice it. You have to practice not acting on triggers and deconstructing those triggers. It's a process. And I think, and I tell this to all my students and everyone who asks about this, nothing is going to catalyze that process, the process of detachment, like meditation. Giving yourself 5 to 10 minutes in the morning to meditate, to create a space for yourself that you can step back into throughout the day, a space for reflection and contemplation. Just 5 to 10 minutes in the morning. Establishing that first thing, it'll bring you a sense of calm throughout the day, and it'll create room. It can create room just for you to take a step back, so that you're never in a corner. Being triggered is feeling like you're in a corner and you have to react. You have to act out. You have to do something. But when you've meditated in the morning, you've already created like a little extra escape room for yourself, so that whenever you feel triggered, you feel like you're in the corner. You realize, oh, I'm not actually in the corner. Actually, I have this extra little space that I can step into, take a breath, reflect. That's one way to start, but it's a practice. It takes time, and you have to act on it, and you have to actively, now you're triggered and you want to react, don't. And then do that again and again and again and again and again, and actually break down and explore those triggers. You have to figure out what's creating them, what's igniting them. You have to detangle the things that are igniting them so that whatever is there doesn't hurt so much every time it's touched. Any ideas on Asherah, Queen of Heaven? Lots. I've made a video about Asherah. There's the whole mythology for Asherah, pre-Yahweh. She was the consort of El, mother of Baal and Yam in the Canaanite. You can actually learn more about her in the Baal cycle. That's what it's called. Search for the Baal cycle. That her story is there. What's most pertinent to my substance abuse counseling course? I don't know what you mean. That's apart from my neutral. Arguing comes easy for me, so I'm focused on depth and learning. I'm not sure what you mean. I love this framework. I'm glad. Wa alaikum salam, Oz. I have ADHD and I really struggle with it. Meditation, babe. Meditation will save you. I also have ADD, and meditation will massively help with that. Lilith mythology is wild, yeah. Where do I start for my substance abuse counseling? Like with your therapist? I mean, isn't that a question for your therapist? Where do you think the depth of your understanding comes from? Lots of experience, lots of reading, being exposed to these types of teachings and conversations very, very early on. I grew up around lots of spiritual people from different practices. I was exposed to different spiritual forms of thinking. I had great mentors. I was kind of primed for this life, I think I'm still being primed for something. How do I tell Raytheon to stop making bombs? I don't know, write them a letter. Guided meditation, music meditation, or silence meditation. I mean, start wherever you can. Ideally, you take 5 to 10 minutes in the morning, as soon as you wake up, before you look at your phone, before you open your email, before you check social media. You just take 5 to 10 minutes to sit up straight in bed and breathe. Just breathe. Just focus on your breath going in and out. No phone, no noise, no emails. Everything can wait 5 to 10 minutes so that you can just establish a center for yourself, somewhere to move from, something to return to throughout the day. Balance meditation app offers 1 year for free. Nice. Any suggestions? Well, if people are having trouble just breathing, guided meditation can help. You can find free guided meditations everywhere, on Spotify, on YouTube. If you have access to Wi-Fi/internet, which I'm sure you do since you're here, just open up YouTube, go write 10-minute guided meditation, 5-minute guided meditation, and do it. It's just breathing. I mean, I have ADD too, but of course it's going to be hard at first because you're literally challenging yourself. It's not supposed to be easy. If it was easy, it wouldn't be a challenge, and it's kind of ridiculous to expect it to be easy. So expect it to be hard, expect it to be very hard, and then maybe it'll be a little bit easier than you expect, because it's not so hard. It's just 5 to 10 minutes of breathing. Finish. No, it'll be hard, but it'll be easier the more that you do it. That's a challenge. That's growth. That's a practice. I know that we live in an age where we want to just let everything be easy, but no, I'm sorry, mountains, you have to climb upwards on the mountain and gravity is going to pull you down. It's just physics. It's gonna be hard to climb up the mountain. If you want your muscles to grow, you have to challenge them. You have to give them a little bit more than they're capable of holding. You can't think your way to bigger muscles. It's just not gonna happen. No matter how much we wish we want it, it doesn't. I'm not gonna meditate myself to the top of the mountain. And I'm not gonna kick and scream my way to a meditation practice. Don't quiet your mind. Don't try and quiet your mind. Your mind is not meant to be quiet. It's just not. Your mind is meant to think. If your mind went quiet, you'd be dead. So, if anything, try and relent from controlling your thoughts. That's what you want to do. It's a surrender, not silencing. Surrender to the thoughts. Just watch them. Let them be, like you're sitting next to a stream. Let the stream go by. Just imagine your thoughts like water in a stream, and you're sitting by the stream and you're watching the water run. Do you, when you see a stream, do you run at it and try and build a dam and hold it down and control the flow and make it go wherever you want? Or do you just surrender to the stream? Just let it go. But don't try and silence it, okay? You are not supposed to be dead. If you don't have any thoughts, you're brain dead, Hayat. No shade to beavers. No shade to... beavers do it, I think, where they're supposed to do it, intuitively, does something for the forest. Even the beavers are surrendering to their own, whatever it is that they need to do. But for you are not a beaver. And I'm guessing you are not an industrial engineer who's been hired to build a dam. So... sit next to the stream and just let it pass. Stop trying to silence your mind. You're not supposed to be silent. You're not supposed to try and brain dead yourself, okay? I actually have meditations that I did this year for class. So I'm going to be recording. They'll be available at some point on my website. So make sure you're subscribed to my website, to my Substack, to those places, because that's where I am. My mind never shuts up. Don't cast out those demons, harness them. Exactly. We need silent minds and loud hearts. No, we need loud minds with heartful words in them. We need heartful minds. We need to know how to love better and detach more and take more responsibility for ourselves. You can't see what's missing until you stand in the light. That's beautiful. It's the cat. That's not a cat. No opinion on aliens? I'm about to marry an alien. Have you not seen my recent videos? Anyway, you guys, we've been on here now for an hour and a half. So I am gonna go rest. Shukran ilik, Jaya. Why you're not fasting? Even if I were fasting, the sun has been down for a while, Hayati. So where I am, people already iftaru. Water is life. Water is the ultimate elixir, okay? Water is the elixir of life. People go round and round in circles trying to figure out all these symbols and all of this alchemical mystery. And all it is water is the elixir of life, and procreation is the ultimate undoing of death. That's it. Those are the secrets. Those are all of the secrets. And I'm sorry it's so boring. The ultimate secret is very, very boring. I'm marrying the alien doll. What's your thought on marriage? It depends. People who love each other can be together. Good for them. Marriage is a personal thing. I will tell Joseph. Anyways, beautiful people, it's better to drink American tap water. Listen, don't ask me anything about America. I have given up on that. I don't know how y'all are living there. I don't know how y'all feel safe there. I don't know how you get your nutrients. I don't know. I don't know what you're doing out there. Bless you. Bless you. Good luck. I'm praying for you all. But I have no opinion. I plead the fifth. I don't know. Okay? Find a safe place. Find community. I'm so sorry, Gabby. Find community. Find people you trust. Hold on to them really hard because it's only getting worse from where I am. What I can see happening in America, it's only getting worse. I'm going to be allowed to go to America next year. I'm not going. I'm not stepping anywhere near that place. No way. No fucking way. Just good luck to all of you, honestly. Because it's just, I don't even know. I mean, I thought I would, but not anymore. Not given, unless it like completely is destroyed and like is in its rebirth stage, then I'll come for the rebirth. But as it is now, no ma'am. No thank you. If you can leave, leave. I don't know what y'all doing out there. I don't know why. Anyway, good luck, y'all, with everything. This was fun, as always. I'm waiting on the rebirth. I mean, it's coming, you know? It's coming. It's always darkest before the dawn, right? I mean, obviously, America's going through a huge transformation, but it's scary. Transformation is scary. It's like this big collective nigredo for empire, and that's scary. That's not something easy. And it's not going to be easy for Americans. And I'm not American. I can only speak from observation. I'm not even allowed in America. I haven't been to America in years. I've been banned for a while, so. And every empire falls, and all of the signs are there. But when and how many more people are going to be hurt in the process, who knows? Because a lot of people already have been hurt. I made a big mistake when I came here to this live. That's why. What's your nationality? I have no nationality. So they won't let me into America. You guys, I have to go. It's been over an hour and a half. I'm gonna go rest. This was beautiful as always. I love you guys. And I'm glad that we did this because it's been a really, really long time. You know, next time I'll come back with the curls, okay? Ultimately, eventually, justice will prevail, and exceptionalism is not going to save everyone. It's not going to save anyone, and no. I feel like that's what's happening, right? Like, that's a big part of what's happening. The illusion of exceptionalism is starting to crumble. It's, like, coming apart. And to be fair, it's kind of been coming apart since the 70s-ish. Just very slowly. But now it's kind of like the decay, like the rot is really coming through, and this whole techno-feudalist rise right now is just it's scary. It's scary and it's ugly and it's dark. Like, that's how transformation starts. That's nigredo. In alchemy, it's nigredo. The blackening, the darkening, the burning, the fire. That's how it starts. Hey, akid not for black people. Now we're talking about the people who lived in the illusion, mainly white people. Sorry, guys. I know you're out there. Mainly, the Europeans. Yeah, well, I mean, what else are we gonna do yet? That's the only thing we can do now. Your accent is American, though. I mean, I'd say it's more international. But no, yeah, of course it's gonna be American. That's what hegemony does. I mean, I grew up watching Disney and Hollywood films. But of course, I can put on a transatlantic accent if I wanted to. It just depends what I'd like to do. Anyways, that was a terrible accent. All right, anyway, guys, I have to go. Don't forget to join our beautiful community, the Twitchiverse. And please, 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 please subscribe to my Substack, Phantasmagasma by Twitchy Witch. You can find the Discord and Phantasmagasma, the links, all of them at the link in my bio at my main website, twitchy-witch.com. Please support your girl, support her Substack. I wrote an article today about alchemy in the Quran, which you will find very interesting if you know anything about the Quran, or even if you're just interested in the Quran in general, or you're interested in alchemy. So go check it out. Tell me what you think. Leave a comment. Subscribe. I love you guys. And I will see you soon with curly hair. Okay?